I'm sorry I can't charge you with being an accomplice, but I will get your license revoked. You'll never operate again as a private detective anywhere in the United States.
Joe didn't kill Mrs. Ramsey. There's something phony around here. Even you ought to know that.
Sure. It's the Mike Shayne Private Detective Agency. All right, boys, take the bodies out.
Murder is My Business, from 1946, featured a return of the gumshoe character Michael Shayne. The Michael Shayne character, of course, was the private detective created by Brett Holliday in the 1930s. Now, he was previously played by actor Lloyd Nolan, but here the role is taken on by Hugh Beaumont. Yes, Hugh Beaumont, the dad from Leave It to Beaver. Now, this is his first time in this role for PRC Films. And I watched this and I thought this was a clever murder mystery with plenty of suspicious characters, and I enjoyed it. I'll give an overview of the film and then offer some closing thoughts. Well, the film opens up, and we have Hugh Beaumont as Michael Shayne, the private detective. And he's there with his secretary, Phyllis, played here by Cheryl Walker. And they're heading to a club together. And on the radio, they hear a message from Police Chief Rafferty, played by Ralph Dunn, sharing his criticisms of people like private investigators, including Shayne, of course. So they go to this club, and Phyllis seems interested in learning more about the detective trade, but be careful what you wish for. Now, watching them at their table is Lyle Talbot as the character Buell Renslow. Now, he's an ex-con who works there, and he recognizes Shayne from somewhere, but can't quite place it. Well, a little bit later, an Eleanor Ramsey, played here by Helen Hay, goes to meet with Shayne. She sort of has this evil stepmom look to her, but in this case, it's actually her husband and stepchildren who are the evil ones. They're treating her poorly, and she realizes she's in a bad marriage because she has a lot of money, which makes things worse because that seems to be the only thing that her husband and stepkids want from her. Eleanor shares with Shayne that she has started to receive threatening letters demanding money, and she shares these with Shayne. Eleanor introduces Shayne to her husband, Arnold Ramsey, played by Pierre Watkin. Now, Ramsey wants to talk to Shayne alone, and he asks Shayne if he would be willing to find one of his friends or accomplices to help stage a phony jewelry burglary. You know, because he's a private investigator, he must know some shady characters who could do stuff like that for him. It's basically insurance fraud that would help him make some money. Shayne tells him he'll think about it, and then he leaves, and he heads back to his office, and he starts venting out loud to his secretary, Phyllis. And, you know, he doesn't like to be taken advantage of like that or thought lowly, but he's not realizing that as he's ranting and raving, some of his old friends are there. It's reformed criminal Joe Darnell, played by Parker Garvey. He's there with his wife Dora, Virginia Christine. And it turns out that Joe is down on his luck financially. He's trying to turn his life around and go straight, and he's wondering if Shayne maybe has some work for him. Well, he doesn't, but he's willing to give him a check to help him out. And Joe is willing to take on the jewelry theft job, the thing that Shayne was ranting about as he came in. But Shayne tells him no, he's got to keep his nose clean, and gives him a check and sends him on his way. Well, Shayne asks Phyllis out to eat, and then later that night, it would appear that Darnell character went over to the Ramsey house, even though he wasn't supposed to, and the story seems to be that Shayne had hired him to take the money from Ramsey, but at some point, Eleanor Ramsey had been killed, as was Joe Darnell. So both bodies are at the crime scene, and Police Sergeant Rafferty is there. He thinks Shayne is a little suspicious in the whole thing, but in his mind the case is closed. That Darnell had broken in, killed Eleanor, and then he was shot by Arnold Ramsey. Well, Shayne doesn't believe it. You know, he knows better, and he trusted this guy Joe as having reformed his life. So he goes on to investigate a little further. He questions the Ramsey kids, who are suspicious in that they will potentially inherit a lot of money now that the stepmom has died. So back at his office, Shayne shares his ideas with Phyllis, as well as reporter Tim Rourke, played by Richard Keene. But it's around here that Dora Darnell shows up with a gun. Remember, that was her husband that had been killed. And she's angry at Shayne, thinking that he had told him to go and do this crime, and then her husband got killed. But Shayne was innocent of this. Joe had just gone and done it by himself, and they take the gun away from her, and she just breaks down sobbing. Well, Shayne leaves, and he goes to question Carl Meldrum, played by George Meeker. He's sort of this player character, and he had been dating Dorothy. So maybe he's a little suspicious and Shayne has some questions for him. But he finds him in a completely drunken state and unresponsive. Well, around here a messenger arrives and Shayne happens to intercept it. And it turns out it's a note from someone named Mona, demanding her cut of the Ramsey money. Well, Shayne needs to figure out who this is. He then goes to see Ramsey again. He's skeptical of the official story given to the police. But Ramsey answers a few of his questions and is kind of quick to brush off Shayne. In passing, he sees Ramsey's daughter and finds out from her who Mona is. Apparently she's a hostess at the Tally-Ho Club. So he goes to question her. Mona's played by actress Carol Andrews. And while she seems maybe a little flirtatious and interested in Shayne, they don't get very far when someone is at the door. It's that Renslow character from the beginning of the film. He's really annoyed at Shayne and after a few words, slugs him. Shayne gets punched a great deal in this film, the poor guy. Now, back at his office, Shayne is almost clubbed on the head by one of the Ramsey kids, who's angry at him because Shayne had published a newspaper article in which he states that he doesn't think that this murder mystery case is actually closed. But the kid manages to drop a clue that Eleanor's brother also wanted some of this money as well. Let me tell you, there are a lot of characters in this film and a lot of red herrings to follow. Well, Police Sergeant Rafferty shows up. He's annoyed at Shayne as well for that newspaper article. But Shayne tells him he's getting close to solving this crime. Now, Phyllis, meanwhile, has taken it upon herself to do some detective work as well. So she is at the Tally-Ho Club asking questions to that character Carl. Now, she's being a little flirtatious, trying to get some information from him, and around here, Ramsey's daughter shows up, and I guess she was interested in Carl as well, so she and Phyllis get into a big fight. Carl eventually takes away Phyllis back to Mona's apartment so that she can freshen up. Shayne shows up at the club looking for Phyllis, can't find her. Now, Carl, at this apartment, takes a phone call and accidentally discovers that Phyllis actually works for Shayne, and then he turns cold and sinister. And you know what? With not a lot of the film left, I won't give away the whodunit. I just wanted to kind of summarize a lot of what happened in the film, and I will leave the very ending for you to check out. Can Michael Shayne solve this mystery and discover who the real killer is? Is her life in danger with this Carl character? And is anyone else going to punch poor Michael Shayne? Well, you got to see the ending for yourself to see how this one turns out. No spoilers. Well, let me offer some closing thoughts here. Murder is My Business came out in 1946. It was the first Michael Shayne film produced by PRC. From 1946 to 47, PRC would produce 5 films based on the Michael Shayne character, and all of these would star Hugh Beaumont. It was directed by Sam Newfield, who was a very prolific director. What I read, his output estimated at around 300 films. And his brother, Sigmund Neufeld, was actually the head of PRC Studios. I got to tell you, when I was researching this film, not only is there not a lot of trivia for Murder is My Business, it also doesn't seem to be a very well-known movie. So it's kind of interesting. I do this channel for kicks. I don't always go for the Humphrey Bogart Casablanca films, although I do enjoy those. Sometimes it's half the fun is finding these weird, almost obscure films. This is a hard one to find a copy of. It's not really streaming anywhere. It's not on Prime. But hey, I still liked it. My thoughts on the film was that it was a fine murder mystery. You got the gumshoe hero interacting with plenty of those, questionable characters. There was a good pacing to the story that led up to the final resolution. It's also not a terribly long film. Just over an hour. I thought it was a good pace to it, and it was an enjoyable whodunit mystery. Now, thoughts on seeing Hugh Beaumont take on the role of Michael Shayne. I'll be honest, it can still be a little challenging not to see Hugh Beaumont as a young Ward Cleaver, but you do eventually get used to his spin on this particular character. And I also thought it was kind of an interesting way that they introduced this character's kind of trademark thing being that he eats peanuts as he's solving crimes. When he's like kind of pacing the room thinking about a case and he leaves kind of a trail of peanut shells scattered on the floor. It was different, but I thought that was kind of cool. Now, he plays Michael Shayne in this role, I would say a little more seriously, and maybe just a shade darker than Lloyd Nolan played the character. Just my thoughts here. And while Lloyd Nolan's Shayne was maybe a gumshoe who was a little less serious, he would kind of sing, he was a little more carefree. And at times his character was even struggling just to stay in business, taking any assignment that he could get. Beaumont's Shayne seems a little more polished, a little more professional. He's well established, he's got an office, he's got a secretary that he takes out to lunch. He's able to help out a friend who needs some money and so on. So I like kind of seeing that different direction of the character. He also gets punched a lot. It's interesting to me to watch an established character like this change. It reminds me obviously of, say, James Bond, how different actors would take on the role and offer kind of their own different style and flavor to the role. Lloyd Nolan, he was in 7 Michael Shayne films. So, yeah, it takes some adapting to get used to seeing somebody else do the character. But again, I did like the more professional angle that Beaumont seemed to bring here. And I am looking forward to seeing the rest of the films that he did in this series. I think there's 5 total, so I hope to get through all of them eventually. And I also like the romance between Shayne and his secretary Phyllis. That was another difference with the Lloyd Nolan versions, where all of his romances seemed to be with some girl who was outside of the office, someone who was always just long-suffering and dealing with him, always going off on a murder mystery case and so on. Now, I liked Cheryl Walker here in the role, and she would actually go on to be in 2 more of the Beaumont Michael Shayne films. Well, there was not much I could find in terms of trivia for this one. Obviously, Hugh Beaumont was the drawl of the film, best known for his portrayal as Ward Cleaver on the television series Leave It to Beaver, which originally was broadcast from 1957 to 1963. But what I did find interesting reading his background is that he studied at the University of Southern California and received a master's degree in theology in 1946. And he would give up acting to become a Methodist minister in the mid-1960s. And he would die in 1982 at age 73. So this got me curious. What do you think? Is Hugh Beaumont better as the hard-edged detective, or was he better as the warm and caring family man of Leave It to Beaver? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, that's my overview and thoughts on Murder Is My Business from 1946. Hugh Beaumont starred as Michael Shayne, private detective, and I thought he brought an impressive first performance to this role. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the films in this series. I thought this was a great crime film, and it's one worth checking out.